Hey y'all, what's up y'all? It's your girl, the Benji B. What you watching on TV? Okay, so I was actually gonna do episode 8 and 9 together, but this is gonna be my recap and review for Baddies USA, episode 9. So the episode starts out, it opens up with Sapphire and Suki kind of going over the conversation where they're talking about what happened between Suki and Gretchen. Bless her heart, Suki. It's fascinating to me, people who make they money off of words or using words, and then when you listen to them speak, they are not great speakers. Suki couldn't even articulate what it was she was mad about with Gretchen. I think eventually we do get to the point to where she was basically offended that Gretchen called her a bitch and they're not really friends, while she was really just trying to communicate the fact that the audience was probably upset or pissed off because she was using the word nigga. And then as they started talking about it, Gretchen referred to her as a bitch and she was mad because they wasn't friends. Again, it just felt like Suki was just kind of looking for a reason to be mad at her. Like, none of this shit seemed legitimate and it really didn't even mean shit. Gretchen didn't even come off like malicious or hostile or none of that shit. So I just was like, girl, what the fuck is you talking about? So they go over that, they talk about it. Sapphire brings up the fact that since Tavy is from New York, Tavy probably gave her the idea that it was probably okay for her to use that word. And so I guess they're gonna get to the bottom of that some kind of way. I don't really know exactly what that's supposed to mean. Are they gonna check Tavy over that shit? Like, child. The next conversation picks up with Lex and Dolly, and so they're talking about the show and what happened, and Dolly was kind of going over the fact that she know everybody was like, fuck you, and she was like, bitch, okay. She didn't give a damn. She was still doing her little thing. I have to say, prior to this particular season, I would have probably been along with the crowd because Dolly's behavior in previous seasons has been disgusting and decrepit, and it just, I don't know. I don't want to get all preachy and shit, you know what I'm saying? Because I know Dolly know better. I think that's my problem, is that I know Dolly know better than that bullshit. She is much more of a boss than the bullshit she was doing just to kind of be seen on the show. And so for that and her association with Summer, I was just like, girl, get your... But I will say that I am a Dolly fan, like aesthetically and like her little Instagrams and shit. And like, she's just really a cute girl. I like that she's from down south. I wanted to like Dolly, you know what I'm saying? But just the fact that she was running with Summer, and same with Lex. Like, Summer is really the poison in that little crew. What's going on with Summer and how they've been getting into it, and how Summer done now, I guess she officially had unfollowed them on social media. And they're kind of going over the fact of what's going on with Summer, and the fact that, like, for them, the issue with Summer is not so much that she is an issue. I guess apparently they still don't see her as the scuzz bucket that everybody else seems to see, which is beautiful, right? That's a beautiful thing, because we all need friends just like that. But their main issue was that even with them having their little grievances and shit, she's not even open to communicating with them about it. Like, she won't even talk to them, and just kind of like she just cut them off. So that's really the issue that they having. So they kind of talk about that a little bit. The next conversation that we get to is going to be with Jayla and Scotty. So they done went over to Milan. I forgot to mention in the last episode that Lemmy did give some kind of speech that he was going over there to consult with some techie advice people or some shit. I don't know what he got going on. Whatever he's doing, it's going to be in Milan, Italy, and he has decided to take, I guess, some of his staff, but he's taking Scotty and Jayla over there with him to Italy. So we are in Italy with the girls as they are waking up, I believe, that next morning. And then they're kind of talking and going over the whole vibe of them being back on the show and everything. And then, you know, Scotty, she been there consistently for the last few seasons or whatever, but Jayla coming back. They're just chatting. This little piece of the show right here really, to me, felt like a whole nother show. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm a fan of Jayla. I'm a fan of Scotty. I don't know that I'm as big of a fan as it would take to invest in a whole season of them doing some shit. Now, what I would watch is like a expose, like a special where they go do like a fashion show trip or thing, or like they're going to perform or walk in some kind of fashion show. And so we follow like the prep up to that, like, right, like a little 90-minute, you know. I would watch some shit like that, whether it was for Jayla or for Scotty. I don't know that I would watch an entire season of a show with just them. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because with them breaking off and them having their conversation over in Milan, like, the vibe is just totally different, right? Like, this really could be like a whole nother show. And so Zeus should probably kind of look into that. Now, the bad part is they have probably locked themselves into the crud market with the fighting and the, you know, the aggression and the hostility and all that shit. So that really is kind of what people expect from Zeus at this point. But I mean, you know, we might well give it an opportunity or something. These girls don't belong on Baddies though. Like, they're not what that is. I guess Scotty could still fit because she would fit like kind of the big sister aesthetic. I think that's accurate for her. But Jayla has been outgrown and shit. I'm glad to see her back, but she just don't fit, you know? She don't fit this shit no more. So anyway, watching them talk just made me think of that. Like, this felt like a whole nother vibe, a completely different show. You know, just, that was kind of weird. The next conversation goes to Biggie and Tinka. They meet up. They just basically kind of rehashing the show, and they go over the fact that the girls that was like seriously booed, Biggie is considering taking them off the card because they don't want people to start rioting in these events that they supposed to be scheduled for, right? Especially if they sold out. We're talking a lot of people, and if they got a couple of cast members that they're not keen to, that could get fucked up for them. They also have a brief phone call with Natalie. I guess she's off at some funeral for a security guard of hers, so she talked a little bit. Now, Tinka, let me talk about Tinka and this Hollywood shit Tinkerbell. We're talking about Natalie, I love you. I mean, she did the blinky face and all the shit, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the conversation, Tinka talking about Natalie is just so amazing with all the things. It's amazing how she can still bring a smile to your face with everything she's going through. I'm like, bitch, who gave Tinkerbell did she got a publicist or something? Like, Tinka got her Hollywood fabulous, you know, PR team response shit all the way on. I just was, I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed that or what, but it was kind of funny to me. It made me laugh out loud, like, for real. But girl, whatever. I see you, Tinka. I see you. And then the last talk that we kind of bump into on the way to the bus, because the girls get on the bus, I think they have to go to Chicago. Are they in Chicago? I don't know. Wherever the fuck they're going to next, they actually, they have one more conversation before they get on the bus. So this conversation is going to be between Smiley and between Gretchen. And Smiley is just like, oh, maybe you should just talk it out. She is with shits. Gretchen is like, listen, I got smoke for that bitch. I don't appreciate her trying to back me in no corner, and I want to fight it out. And that's just what it is. Smiley's like, oh, you should talk about it. She like, nah, fuck that bullshit. I want to fight. Respect. I think Gretchen takes way too much heat. I think she takes more heat than what she deserves. And I just don't understand why. You know what I wonder? I often wonder whenever I'm watching shit like this, or like even in real life, right? Like when you're working in environments and when you are at school and all that, right? Usually there is an outcast or one person that everybody seems to hate or dislike or something like that. And I wonder how the collective selects the person that they're gonna go all in on. Cause I can't think of nothing Gretchen said or did outside of using the word nigga, but even in the context she used it in, it really wasn't that big of a deal. So it's just weird to me that everybody just kind of like locked in on her and like she was like public enemy number one. Well, I guess she with the shit because she's like, this bitch got me fucked up. She should have put her hands on me. So we finna do that one-on-one. She deserved that. Okay, so they in Chicago. So they're on their way to the house when they get on the bus. They get on the bus, then they revisit this shit. Well, what happens actually when they get on the bus is Cold Killer go after Nunu. So they have a little scuffle. They break them up. Then we get into the whole discussion as to why they mad. Cold Killer is basically, I guess, checking her because she said she was going to check the temperature but didn't do nothing. So based on, I guess, the conversation that Fauna had with Cold Killer after the conversation she had with Nunu, Cold Killer decided she was going in all guns blazing. So she gets on the bus. She attacks Nunu. They scuffle. They break it up. And then they get into the discussion where they're debating whether or not Nunu checked the temperature. Nunu was like, yes, I did. They're like, no, you didn't. And she like, yes, I did. That whole conversation to me is so irrelevant. Like, it's stupid. It's minuscule. You know what I'm saying? First of all, the fact they even fighting is because of some shit that happened with another bitch that ain't even there. And then the fact that they have different definitions of temperature checking, like, So as they continue to talk, Lex and Tinka and Summer get on the bus. True Summer style, she gets on the bus. They try to figure out what's going on. Summer gets all in the middle. Everybody, to be fair, is kind of talking a little bit like, well, you know, they giving a little side of it or whatever. Then Tavy starts to get involved in the conversation more and more and more. Interjection. I have to say, Tavy and her confessional in this episode is absolutely delicious. That girl looks really good in this episode while she talking. So she gets into it back and forth, and so I guess she basically agreed Nunu needed to be popped in her shit because of what she said or whatever. And now they kind of get into the conversation with Gretchen. Rolly brings up the fact of, you know, the risk that they take in for Gretchen and her using the word nigga or whatever. And they go over to that whole conversation, and Tavy, she interjects in that conversation as well, and she's surprised because of New York. Like, I feel the same way that Tavy was saying, and I feel the same way that Tinker was saying. Actually, Tinker took up for it too, because she was just like number one, the shit is old that everybody mad about. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's really not that big of a deal. If she was saying it in a derogatory way, or she was consciously trying to make race a part of an insult that she delivering to somebody, that's a whole nother dynamic, and that's a whole different feel than it is to be like, what up, nigga, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I don't know. It's just a weird selective rage that this shit we tend to do, you know what I'm saying? So they're kind of talking about that. They go over that a little bit, and I'm really glad to see Tinka and Tavy kind of speak up. It's not like they trying to get in the middle of the fight or nothing between her and Suki, but they speak up, and she need that. Like, I think Gretchen deserved that. You know what I'm saying? We now come to Lex and Tavy. So we know last season they were arch enemies, and it was just always up, and Lex wanted to fight Tavy every time she saw her. I think they fought maybe 4 or 5 times last season. Tavy's face stayed fucked up. It was really fucking sad. Again, I like Tavy. I think she's dope, but Lex like dog walked her ass all season, and I just was really hoping that we wouldn't get there on this season. But Lex decides to bring up the fact that Tavy, I guess, said something online about her that she didn't appreciate, and so Lex is basically just like, you know, I don't put the shit down, so I thought you was gonna put the shit down. Like, are you trying to reignite the fight between us or what? And Tavy just like, bitch, you know, I can talk about what the fuck I want to talk about. I'm gonna say what I want to say, and like, if you want to do it, you can do it. Oh my god, Tavy, no. So they have that little back and forth or whatever, and then actually gets a little hostile on the bus, but they don't really come to blows. So I'm like, okay, maybe they both have matured, and we find out that Tavy is 36, which to me is not old. It's a lot younger than I am. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't realize Tavy was 36. I guess I can kind of see it now when I look at her. I can't unsee it. I don't know. I will say that seems like an interesting age to be in this type of environment. Like, it's one thing maybe to watch or to be there. I think Rolly is probably a little close to that age, or maybe a little older. I know Natalie is older than 36, but you know, Natalie is pretty hands off for the most part. She get in there sometime and she just got to, but everything she do just for the show's sake. But I'm surprised to know that Tavy is 36. So they bring that up, and Lex is like, you know, she needs to be more mature and grow up. So they have their words, and then finally we touch down. We get to the house. Rolly has been instructed to have a house meeting, and y'all know what that means. Also, before they get to the house, I have to say that while Lex and Tavy are having their back and forth, Summer, surprise, surprise, she jumps into the conversation, and she actually is kind of sound like she's erring on the side of Tavy, which got Lex feeling some kind of way, but really ain't nobody taking Summer too serious. But she bumping her gums, and we know what that's gonna probably lead to. Okay, so the girls get to the house. First off, the girls that get there are Anna Mac, Biggie, Tasiki, look like Suki and Sapphire all get there a little bit before the rest of the girls arrive. And so they kind of talking about everything that happened with the fight between Suki and Gretchen, and then how Sapphire crashed out. So finally the other girls get to the crib. Gretchen already, like we already know, she ready to go in. She's just waiting to see Suki in person. She's waiting on it. When they get to the house, everybody go in. And I'm not really sure how they make this distinction, but it looks like when they go in and Gretchen starts to fight, she ends up fighting with Sapphire. So I guess Sapphire was like, no, I'm going to do the fight for Suki, which is very fucking weird. And Gretchen, she got a little reach, that little skinny motherfucker, she lunged over there across the room, so she connects with Sapphire. And then Suki jumps into the fight. So now they get into like this big thing and everybody break them up. Well, after they break them up, Gretchen have a big gash on her neck. And so it's almost like somebody cut her with something. So then that becomes a big deal because everybody is like, oh shit, like is somebody in here with a weapon? Like we don't know if Suki or if Sapphire like stabbed her or cut her with something. Like that's a whole thing and a whole mystery. Basically Suki is like, shit, that bitch just got cracked and that's just what it was. But it looked like somebody sliced her with some shit. After Gretchen's little cut is revealed or whatever, everybody is now trying to kind of investigate and figure out who had a blade or whatever. And then Summer is like, oh, y'all jumped her. And so basically Suki is like, shit, all these bitches in here be jumping and we jumping. And if you got a problem, I don't give a fuck. Now, Tavy ventures out to the backyard. The premise for her removing herself was she was feeling a little tense. She was a little on edge from the conversation that she had with Lex back there on the bus. So she goes outside to get herself a little breath of fresh air. Right. Now, to be fair, she did go out there by herself, and when she went out there, Lex actually followed her outside. Now, that felt like definitely a production initiated event for sure. Tavy goes outside, Lex follows her outside. Lex is really pretty calm, but she wants to talk to her, and Tavy is kind of amped up, and she just like, bitch, I came out here by myself. And Lex is like, I know, that's why I want to talk to you. And she's like, bitch, but I'm chilling. And she was like, well, that's why I want to talk to you. So they get into this weird, it just felt forced. Like that whole little interaction between them felt forced. It seemed like neither one of them really wanted to fight. Lex really wasn't even ever leading with the energy that she wanted to fight. But I think, you know, production probably was like, we need y'all to start y'all beef back up. So they do. Go out to the backyard. Her and Tavy is having their little back and forth. And Tavy, after they kind of talk a couple minutes, Tavy actually lunges at Lex. And Lex pieces her up again. I can't take it. I can't handle watching Tavy get beat up like that. I don't think I can take anybody getting beat up like that. It hits you a little harder when you watch the same person just getting beat up over and over and over and over. And it's just like, why are y'all doing this? Like, why are we doing this? I don't understand why you girls hate each other in the first place, but I don't know. So anyway, they have their little fight, and then now everybody done ventured outside, because at first I think nobody else really realized they was out there. Now the other girls realize they outside, so they all kind of wander out, and it's really sad. Again, I like Tavy a lot. I like Lex a lot. And just watching them fight make me sick to my stomach. So they have that little incident. And so we go back to the inside of the house. Now Gretchen is like bandaged up and she's having her words because she don't feel like it's fair that they jumped on her and then somebody like cut her or sliced her with something. So Suki's basically making fun of her. Well, Suki actually approaches her, and then Gretchen and her get kind of tangled up again. And so I will say, I think Gretchen can probably really go. We need her to have some opportunity and some space to see what she can do, because I think Gretchen can go, real talk. But that's kind of where the episode leave off. You know, we get the little blinky lights and shit and the coming up next episode thing or whatever. So that's all we have for this episode. A couple of things that I took away from this one. Number one, the main thing, which I already said, is Jayla and Scotty. Y'all really should have like y'all own show. Well, maybe Jayla should have her own like fashion event special or some shit. You know what I mean? Like y'all just don't even fit the aesthetic of the baddies, and like y'all ain't coming with the same energy, which is a good thing. I'm not even framing that like, oh, you didn't like. I like both of them. I think they dope, but this is not the atmosphere for them. Maybe Scotty, because like I said, she like the big sister and she's like consistently there, so it kind of works. But then she is pregnant and having this baby, and so that might not fit. Like, I don't know, that just felt that y'all feel weird and out of place to me. The Nunu and Cole Killer fight, again, dumb as fuck. I don't understand why we are really harping on this checking of the temperature thing. Like, it feel like Nunu don't really give a fuck about this shit that they're so mad about. Like, Fauna and Cole Killer seem to be infuriated by whatever happened with the friend shit. I just can't understand the drastic difference in the feelings about this thing. Like, Nunu is kind of like, bitch, whatever. And then they're really like, you know. So I just don't understand why they are so pissed off. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that eventually. Lex and Tavy, y'all need to stop it, please. Just please, Lex, stop it. You stop it right now, okay? Just stop it. Gretchen, Suki, and Sapphire. Honestly, I don't even think Sapphire would be in this shit if it wasn't for Suki, which, and then Suki wouldn't be in this shit unless she thought she could whoop Gretchen, which I think we may be surprised, because I think if Gretchen could really get at her, she would probably fuck her up. So hopefully they'll be able to squash their little shit on the next episode, but we'll see. That's the end of episode 9, y'all, and that's all I have to say about that shit. I'm your girl, the Benji B. I'm finna go find me something else to watch on TV. Bye.